Brideheart was directed by Simon West and is about a secret agent named Sam, played by Rebel Wilson, who is supposed to be the maid of honor at her best friend's wedding, but is unreliable with that role because she is constantly having to disappear to handle spy missions. When a group of mercenaries assault her friend's wedding while she is away, it is up to Sam to defeat the terrorists and salvage her best friend's wedding. I was supposed to see this 2 days ago, but the only screening I had time to attend was fully rented out to a group of people attending a bachelorette party. And good for them, I guess. I hope they enjoyed this film. So I didn't get to see it until yesterday. Whew. This reunites many of the same people who were involved in the Pitch Perfect series, which I have never seen. I was in my historical films phase during the zeitgeist of Pitch Perfect, so I've never gotten around to seeing them. And after seeing Brideheart, I don't know if I really have any desire to go and catch up on those movies. Did anyone think this was going to be any good? I will say that some of the action sequences were done okay enough that I wasn't bored by them. I laughed one time and smiled another. The smile occurred early on when Rebel Wilson made a comment about her breasts being, quote, emotional support boobs. That was very dumb, but the delivery was cute enough that it got a grin out of me. I don't have an issue with this concept. It sounds fun on paper, and the first 10 or so minutes were not bad, but the second we have our first fight scene is when I realized what kind of picture I was in store for. Every fight in this movie is either overhead or behind the back of our main character, where we can't see any part of her face. I have no doubt that Rebel Wilson worked really hard for this role, and reports are indicating that as well. But with the way all the fight scenes are edited, I could tell that there was a stunt person in her spot, and it looked awkward and bad. Once the wedding is overtaken, the first kill she commits is pretty gnarly, and I said to myself, okay, maybe the intro was just shot later in production and now we will see the good fight scenes. But oh no. No. It's all edited in a way to not show Rebel Wilson's face or body being involved in the contact with these fights. I'm willing to go with that on a comedy level and accept that she is in on the joke, but that's the biggest problem with this movie for me. It's not funny. I said I laughed one time during the picture, and that was when she fires a bazooka at someone and that person goes flying. I laughed because I could tell that the person being hit with the rocket was on a wire of some sorts, and I could see them being pulled by it. So I wasn't laughing at what transpired. I was laughing because of how poorly the scene was filmed. So I didn't even laugh in the way the movie wanted me to laugh. Stephen Dorff is the bad guy, and he doesn't have an ounce of charisma to him that matches his very best villainous role. He wants the fortune of the family who is hosting the wedding, and they have the most ridiculous security setup that can only be done this elaborately in movies. He has to get rings off of all the members of the family, followed by a retinal scan. However, he can only do one person every 30 minutes or so. Does such a security system like this even exist in this world? It only extends it out like this so we can have several scenes of Rebel Wilson kicking everyone's ass. But all of the villains have to be completely stupid, and that's what they are in this movie, completely stupid. An example of this is the bride meets up with Rebel Wilson in the kitchen of the manor, and here we see some dumb fight between our badass and some security guys. After she dispatches them, she says that she is going to lure all the mercenaries away with a distraction, so the bride can get all the guests to safety. After a really awkward fight behind a chocolate fountain, the terrorists capture Rebel Wilson and bring her back to the manor, but all the guests have escaped. Our villain doesn't seem to care at all though, and just casually mentions that he planted tracking devices on some of them and sent some of his men to kill these people, who are now at a beach or something. Yet we never see a man come down and try to kill them. Instead, the four friends of Rebel Wilson decide to go back and help her because one of them senses she needs help. Translation, we have no idea how to get these people back to the plot, so we'll just give one a joke about being clairvoyant. Again, everyone in this picture needs to be dumb. For most of the runtime, I was willing to just accept this is a silly action comedy that isn't funny, but then the last chase scenes happen, and this movie went from mid to holy crap, this is really bad, when our heroine and her best friend get on a boat speeder thing, and what you see is maybe the worst green screen that eyes have witnessed in a movie in I don't know how many years. It felt like I was watching those old 60s movies where people are riding in a car, and the background in the car doesn't match the way they are driving, but done in a really stupid way. If someone wants to show me that this was intentional and supposed to be bad for fun's sake, I will stand corrected and tip my hat to the film, but as of now, it is some of the absolute worst green screen I've seen in I do not know how long. Anna Klumsky is a sort of drama foil for Rebel Wilson, and every time she and Steven Dorff were around, I felt sad for them. They were both in such a bad movie, and how wonderful they were back in the day. And they had been reduced to this crap, but that was a very long time ago. This film has outtakes over the end credits, and not even those were funny. You know you're in trouble when the ending has outtakes that hopefully leave you laughing on your way out of the theater, because I think even the filmmakers knew that this was a bad movie. I obviously don't recommend this movie. It could have been fun with its premise, but the fight scenes are done so poorly. The comedy doesn't land at all, and even if the action scenes were tolerable, there is no fun realism to them to even allow me to escape into its silly premise. This is a bad movie, everyone. Don't waste your time unless you want to rent out the theater for a bachelorette party and use that in hopes of annoying all the people attending so much that they'll call in sick to the wedding, because I can only recommend this to people who want to play jokes on people that they despise. I give Bride Hard 1.5 stars out of 4. The only thing that saves it from being a full turkey is Rebel Wilson has a slight charm to her in this whole preposterous situation, and when you're watching a bad movie, your eyes will search the screen for anything to keep your attention. And that is my review. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this, please like and subscribe. Here's links to my other videos. Follow me on social media if you like. And until next time, I am Ghost.